All right, good Tuesday morning, March 10th of 2026. Here we are. It's the Dev Talk Show. I'm Chris Gomez, and right next to me is my co-host Rich Ross. How you doing this morning, Rich?
Doing well, Chris. How about you?
Good, good. It's lighter later, as I found out last evening.
Yeah.
Just happened to, your brain, that switch over here in the U.S. If you're in a place that I have a friend in Arizona who says like didn't switch for me. So
he's nice and happy.
Yeah. So but I definitely noticed last night, even though the time change was Sunday, I noticed last night that I said, oh look, it's almost 7 and still kind of light out. So that's something not necessarily unique to the US. I think the length of time that we're on a daylight savings, I think might be longer than the rest of the world. I think we start earlier and later, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So
that has gradually moved over the course of, I forget how many years, but I think it ends up being like 4 months where on standard time.
Yeah. It's not very long.
Right. So does that really mean it's
standard? Is that standard anymore? Yeah, it's like November, because it's right after Halloween, November, December, January, February, and then we get moving quickly in March. So
yeah.
In any case, we here, we here have been working on the Pizza Bot, and some folks have been seeing that for several shows now, I think. There's a whole AI development playlist here on the channel.
Oh, cool.
So, and it's specifically everything we've been doing with AI, including planning the app with, way back, we had a show planning your next app with the Copilot CLI. And then we did the Voice Live API, which was really cool. When we got to where it was reading out, that was cool. And then
you have to go back and look at your expression on your face when you saw that.
Yeah. Oh, I know. When it started coming through the audio, I was like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Right.
So that's all here. And we can go ahead, I think. Oh, I actually need to present this screen, don't I? So let me get that going. And I'm going to click here and we'll add it. And here we go. So if you have been with us on this journey, this is the Dev Talk Show repository. This is not a one-to-one copy of the workshop from the Dev Days video that kind of got me inspired to do all this. We're heading that direction. I think before long, there will be a Docker file in here so you could do it all in a code space. Nice. And right now, this is a little bit more of a completed. These items are completed. And I think where I want to get to is I do want to have a completed section for people who say, look, I just want to see it work.
Right.
But I also want to have, for example, if we go to create Foundry agent, I want to have somebody who says, I want to walk through it. I want to build it myself. That kind of like workshop sort of mindset, which I don't think is really in here yet. But what do we have in here? We have those same Contoso Pizza Store documents from the AI Dev Days workshop, which I think that workshop's been used in other places too. And we also have we have one script, knowledge upload, which you can run using .NET 10 and beyond's new feature, .NET Run. And you don't need a solution for this. It's just going to go upload the files, create a vector store for you. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to get rid of this. Because you watching at home will not have the ability to use this Foundry project. So I need to get that fixed. So, okay. All right. So what are we doing? If you take a look at this, if you've been with us, you've known that we've had create Foundry agent, which administers the whole thing. And then we've had use existing agent, which was my attempt to say, okay, well, what if we want to separate the act of creating the agent and just using it, which you may want to do, you may not want to do. And then finally, the shift to agent framework.
Yep. Yeah, and that use existing agent is pretty cool because you can create it inside of the Foundry in the portal,
Right.
code, all configured, run through the playground and testing things out. Like, that's pretty cool. We're going to save it. And then now you can extend it with the existing agent bit.
Right, right. Create Foundry agent does everything declaratively in your code, but the other two, you could do everything in the portal. But we've got a couple new projects here. We have the Pizza API.
Okay.
And then there's some shared data models, which maybe I will rename some of these. But so if you're wondering what this is, when you do that workshop, already set up for you are backends for a pizza ordering MCP server, and a dashboard where you can watch the status of the orders. But that MCP server provides tools that talk to what we're going to pretend is an existing corporate API that perhaps is already being used by applications to display menus, available toppings and pizzas, and also order pizzas. We can sort of just pretend that API existed. Then you would want an MCP server where you can declare or create tools that might use that API or anything else you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got something that the agent can use as part of its workflow. Like, hey, I know I have access to these tools. So we don't have in the repo. We have an API. We don't have an MCP server.
Right. Which is kind of important.
Yeah. So when I take a look at the state of the project here in our backend folder in the solution, we have that Pizza API and shared, and we don't really need to worry about these too much today, because what we're going to do is after we just take a quick peek at how this works. Currently only HTTP support. I think I may put a little work into that as well. So I'm going to run the Pizza API.
Okay. So you already have the backend API, minimal API, I guess.
Yeah. Let's take a quick peek. So, to me, since we're focusing on AI, the how to create this, of course, if you're new to minimal APIs and ASP.NET, take a look. But it's really cool that the whole API is just in this one file. And after you get through some of the stuff that you're kind of used to, we can do things. We can get our different pizzas, and what this means is pizzas on the menu. What are the different toppings on the menu? And then you can also get orders in progress or existing orders. And you can also, and this is the most important thing, you can place an order.
Right.
Maybe not too exciting looking at the code. There is an in-memory data store that's already ready to go. It's already wired up. Nice. So that you can just go to work. But there's also, this is not, like I said, this is to me, this is a C# version of what is implemented in, I believe in TypeScript, over in the Pizza MCP agents repo that we are being inspired by.
Right.
I think I like having HTTP files for the basics in right in your solution folder. I know that many teams, you might use Postman, you might use your own favorite. Maybe you're using, I know, like there's other popular ones now. I think like Bruno's become very popular. There are plenty of HTTP testing tools, and those are great.
Yeah.
This is kind of the quick, I can commit to the repo. My tooling supports it, where I can go ahead and say, okay, I can just hit an API, which doesn't tell me much. It's kind of like a status. But I can also say, well, get me all the pizzas on the menu. This is coming from that JSON file. There's a JSON file that's acting as the data store for the in-memory version of this. This will tell me, it tells me everything. It tells me, there's even a picture to it, which we don't have the picture supported yet. But, what's the description? What's the name of it? There's ID numbers. And since there's ID numbers, I can say I want to get pizza 2. Okay, great. Here's that information. I can get information about toppings. And so here are the different toppings you can order. There's even a toppings categories, which I didn't realize was in the API. Not super important. Yeah, I didn't know that. If I want to get a specific information about a specific topping, I can see all the current orders. And then here's, I can send a request for an existing order. This order doesn't exist, so it's not found. Note that even though it is returning 404, this API isn't using something I really like to have in every API, which is like using JSON problem details. But, that's okay. And then finally, this is the most important thing, is we want to place an order. So how do you place orders? is the API takes a user ID, it takes the items you're ordering in an array, and then this is optional. You don't have to provide it, but you can provide a nickname for the order. So I'm going to go ahead and send that request, and we now have this order in the system. I can even go back and modify this one real quick, and there it is.
Oh, cool.
I can look at all the orders. And I think what happens is if we sit here and wait long enough, it sits set to pending. We can make the call a few minutes from now, and maybe I don't even know if it has to be that long. It'll move from pending to the other states, which are like preparing and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that in order to keep it quick, the whole thing's done in 3 minutes. It really is one of the fastest pizza shops in the nation. So, I think I created the order again, which is fine. Oops. That's okay. That's all right. Now there's 2 orders. See, this one's moved to in prep. Oh, they both have. Okay. Well, they're both on their way. That's good. That's what it's all about. All right. So, while important, I believe what we're here to do is we're here to create our first MCP server.
Yeah, but like most MCP servers,
yep,
you kind of need to connect it to something, and usually that is an API.
Sure.
So
it is
important to go through that first.
Something I'd like to tackle in the future is, there's already talks on this out there. Some of them, I think I saw one. I think I saw one at Ignite.
Okay.
But I've seen them just in YouTube in general, that your MCP server is not just transparent connection to the API.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that I want to concentrate on that today, but it's a good future topic. Whatever you think about it, if you're experienced with MCP and API, let us know what you think in the comments, because if there is one thing I want to make clear is, as we build this MCP server today, if you're starting to feel like, well, all you're doing is wiring up to the API, for the purposes of the sample, I think we might feel that way, but there's a couple things that maybe won't. And that I like that. I always want our samples to feel like you could do this at work.
Yeah. And one comment around that.
Yep.
So real quick, MCP launched or became widely known, right? It was an internal hackathon with Anthropic, became widely known November of 2024.
Right.
In that time frame, in the summer of 24, a lot of the conversation was, let's just point the model or include in the context of what we give the model the Open API spec, the Swagger definition, and let the model choose which of the APIs to go against. That was where the conversation was going. So it could do this kind of thing.
Yeah.
At that time, that was hard. That was a lot of text that we were sending into that context window, and we didn't really have a way to do it. So that's why MCP kind of took off.
Okay.
We're starting to come back around.
Okay.
At least with some conversations I've had with a couple of folks where, do we really need MCP? Because the models have gotten better, the context windows have gotten better. Why can't I just plan all this out and say, here's the specification, pick the right one for what you need to do? Just saying, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments of how you're approaching this, but realize that MCP is a thing. It certainly is, but I certainly have people starting to think about how can we just talk back to the API directly.
Right. This space moves really fast.
Yeah, exactly.
What's moving super quickly just in the last few weeks that we worked on this is that I don't think it'll be very long before we're talking about how do we add agent to agent into this sample.
Yep.
Certainly my goal from the beginning was I want to make a parallel copy of the pizza ordering agent. I just loved that demo. But now that we're getting to, we're moving beyond the demo. Yeah. We're thinking about the production backend that you may be asked to build. Right. What do we have to think about, right? Yep. And that conversation's moving so fast, like you said. Yeah. So, so we need, let's see, can I add? I want to add a new project. So, you know why it's not lighting up the new project stuff? Because it's running. Yeah, it's running.
Do that all the time.
I do too. Yeah. So here we go. We want a new project. So what's available?
Okay.
I'm just going to type MCP in here, and then let's talk about why I got this template, or why I believe I got this template. I'm running a pretty up-to-date version of Visual Studio. I may not may not be on this month's release just because I try to keep up, but it could be the February release for all I remember. And what I'm not sure about, I am not entirely certain if a update to Visual Studio brought this template in, or was it an update to .NET? Because if I'm here at the .NET CLI, which I'll zoom in on just a little bit, actually, and then let's make this. I'll just clear it out so it's easier to see. Here I am at the .NET CLI, and when I say list SDKs, you can see that on my system, besides never having done that show that I keep bragging about to get rid of older out of support SDKs, which one of these days we'll have to do. I've got some preview versions on here, right? 10.103.
Mm-hmm.
But if I say .NET new list, the highlights of this are an API chat web app.
Okay.
And then I think a little bit further down,
there you go. Just past
local MCP server, right?
Yeah.
And then you can do something interesting in .NET and get some details about the templates you've installed. And so we've got .NET. This is where I think those came from.
Mm-hmm.
So you can install templates, right?
Right.
And in fact, what is in the show notes, right? Maybe not in the show notes yet. We'll get it in the show notes. Is quick starts to creating minimal MCP servers. So that's how you can follow along. But I'm going to today. We're going to be in Visual Studio today. In other times, I like to use code or Linux or whatever. But let's try. I wanted to see this experience. So I'm going to go ahead and say local MCP server console app. And it wants to know what I'm going to call it. And so we'll call it Pizza MCP. There may be some rearranging of this project at some point. It's good for .NET 10. Great. I wonder, that's interesting. I wonder why self-contained publish is checked. It's okay. I don't mind.
Does that little eye thing give you any info?
I clicked on it. Now, let me just try hovering over it. Whether to enable... so no. Whether to enable the MCP server for publishing as a self-contained application. Well, yeah.
Okay.
I got that. Oh, wait. I think I accidentally exited. So we're going to have to do that again. Add
okay.
New project. I'm going to type MCP. The reason why I wanted to highlight, did it create it? Or did it, let me see. It might have already, I may have accidentally taken space in the folder, which I'll want to get rid of. So I'm just going to take a quick peek. No, it didn't. Didn't do anything. So I don't know why. Okay. Let's move forward. Create. Not much to choose. Not much to choose. And was that a README for it? Oh, it was. It comes with a little README. This
cool.
README was created using the C# MCP server project template. So no, you know what? Now it does look like it's talking about why you might want to do it. Maybe makes sense if you expect this to go into a container, perhaps.
Sure.
I mean, the container could have the framework on it too, but in any case, it's fine. And then, interesting, right? It's telling you some cool stuff. They're telling you how to run it from your IDE locally, publishing to NuGet, can publish your server to NuGet. I see that a lot, publishing these to NuGet. I'm trying to, I guess I understand, because one of the ideas is that your MCP server may be kind of your window to the world for whatever it is you're sharing. Okay. I don't know that we need this. Let's take a look at the program CS. It's pretty simple. There's not much going on here. Let me see. I've got some notes. Let's see. Do I have anything reminding me what not to forget? So logs going to standard error, add MCP server. And then okay, this is what I was looking for. With tools is an extension method where you tell it, where can I find the tools you want? I don't know what the right word is here, to expose, to what tools do I support?
Yeah,
Maybe it's the right terminology.
I think it is. Yeah. So what tools am I? What are the tools that the agent that connects to me will have access to?
Okay, great. So this is how you say where to go find the tools. And they give you a random number tools to get started. So let's go look at that. They put it in a tools folder.
Mm-hmm.
And this is pretty simple. Kind of like, I think the way a lot of, wow, that was big. The way a lot of .NET developers would expect, I just get to write code and then decorate it with some descriptions that my belief is that the agent or LLM can use these to say, okay, this tool generates a random number. So if that sounds interesting to me, if I need that, then I know where to go to get that done. And I even understand what to do with these parameters because somebody described them for me.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I want to make sure I say hi to Hector HSC, who says hi to us.
Morning, Hector.
Maybe good morning from us.
Yeah.
Can't say for sure because we've had people from all over the world, which is super awesome. But good morning from us. So thank you very much for joining us. All right. So we want to build the same tools that were built for the pizza. Well, I don't know that they have to be the same. That's the cool thing about it, right? Is because it's the agent that figures out what to call. And this is the part that I think was hard for me to understand.
Okay.
When I'm building an API, we have deterministic specs and expectations. Like I'm going to call, what method should I call? We as the developer figure that out and we wire that up in our code somehow. Where here it's kind of like expose some tools and the agent's going to look them over and say, well, okay, here's what I want to do. So I don't know that we necessarily have to be 100% identical to what was done by the other by the MCP server implemented, for the Python version.
Right.
You just got to have enough tools so that it works.
Yeah. I mean, and
that concept is weird to me, right? Like, does that make sense as to why, especially if you're an experienced developer, you would feel it feels funny that like, oh no, I don't have to deterministically copy step by step. It's got to be an exact port. It's like, well, no, as long as it can read a menu, find out about pizzas, order pizzas, that's what it's going to be looking to do.
Right. Yeah. And you just want those tool choices to be described enough so that there's a perceivable difference from the LLM when it reviews it. Because if they're too similar, then sometimes they may pick one and sometimes they may pick the other because they're just that close in the description of what they do.
That's a good point, actually. That's a really good point, is that you have to, it's like you're describing to an assistant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to create a new class here. We're just going to have this brand new class.
Okay.
Let's see. What do we need?
We need a method or
getting a list of pizzas, right?
Yep.
So the way you do that is there is I may have to include something though. Let's see if it can help me with what to include. In fact, it's already kind of taken a guess here. Yes. So you need to use model context protocol server. So we have an attribute, MCP server tool, and then you just create methods.
Correct.
So I believe that you want to support asynchrony if you're going to make asynchronous calls, you want to support asynchrony. So that if you do want to support that, because maybe downstream you're going to make an async call, then make sure that you are returning a task. It's not that you make it an async method or anything. You return a task. Now, Oh, now this is interesting, right? Like if we want to, this could be the tool.
It could be.
It could just be like, okay, here's what it is, but this isn't what we want. So we want to, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, what do we want to do here? We're going to do this in a pseudocode way. Oh, well, there you go. This would likely call out to a database or external API to retrieve external data. That's right. That's correct. That's exactly what we need to do. But we're going to do that quite a bit here. Like each of these tools is going to call out to a something in the API.
Right. So we're going to have some kind of a standard HTTP client that we're going to reuse and pass in the endpoint we're going to. Is that where you're going?
Yeah. Since we're going to do that over and over, I already have ready this method called fetch async. I'm not here to try and tell you all that this is the absolute best implementation. Mostly this was, we're going to need some more stuff. That's why.
Yeah.
Mostly this was to say, okay, the object is to call a method, get the response, and return that as a string, because that's what we're going to send. We're going to send that JSON back to the agent. So what's a catch-all method that helps me do that? And basically here we are. Yep. So I'm trying to think though.
We need to have an HTTP client, right? That we knew up.
We do. Thank you for that. So we're just going to keep it simple and do this here. And then the one of the things we're going to pass into the pizza tools when we start up the project is we're going to pass in an HTTP client factory. So one of the things that I think is interesting here is I think I need, let's take a look at the project file for this. Okay, so this is the MCP server's project file. It's including Model Context Protocol and Microsoft Extensions hosting. But
okay,
I think, and let me go double check real quick. Yes, we can use a different package, and it's not in the template. But I'm going to show you what the package is here. If you use Model Context Protocol ASP.NET Core,
okay,
then see how HTTP Client Factory lit up?
Oh.
So now let's take a look at dependencies. And yes, it's going to yell at me, so we're going to have to fix this. Model Context Protocol ASP.NET Core, which we just added, already transitively includes this.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure the complaint here is, I think, detected package downgrades. Yeah. So what I think I'm going to want to do is come back here and remove this. And then I'm pretty sure that all of that, I wanted to say it's going to go away, but it
almost
is still complaining. Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if it's a build. Oh, well, it's not my only issue. Yeah. Okay. So in any case, I'm curious if anybody knows, like, so this is what's interesting, right? We have, oh yeah, so it did go away. I think it just took a second to figure out. Let's go to manage NuGet packages and see what we're talking about. So what's installed? ASP.NET Core extensions for the C# Model Context Protocol SDK. So it then includes for you, although way down here because we've been using so many different. It includes for you the Model Context Protocol core. So that's what I needed to do in order to get an HTTP client factory in here.
Now, was that just to get it? Was that just to get it in there, or to have that interface available for the project, right? Because we could have wired this up in the program CS by doing a dependency, by setting up a a singleton instance up through there, or is that not?
Oh, and we're still going to have to do that.
Okay. Fair enough. Yep.
But I think, like, for example, all I've done here is say I'm going to rely on a dependency injection for this.
Yep.
So back in program CS, this is not the same one. This is the program CS we want. This is our MCP server program CS. We still have to do that.
Okay.
And I've been a little, like, I've wondered if maybe I don't need to do this because the MCP server could be, could it be a, does it need this? And so I think what's going to happen is the answer is yes, because the MCP server itself, I think we want to map endpoints for Foundry to talk to.
Okay.
So I think that what's going to happen is, even though we use that, although I could be wrong about this, even though we use this SDK, we might have to change this to the web SDK. But I don't know for sure. I don't know 100% for sure if just simply using this as a console app, does that open the required ports and everything so that then that you could have this out on the web, and then Foundry could just be like, yeah, sure, you just give me the endpoint to it. So I don't know if you know.
I don't. It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
So we are going to need some kind of a web endpoint on that. But
right.
Where I will say this: if you go back to the program file for this one.
Okay. Hold on. First of all, let's just finish this off so it's not complaining anymore.
Yep.
Okay. So we know we can get pizzas easily. Mm-hmm. And now, I'm sorry. Let me just close this so that I don't keep opening that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one. So see how you have on line 13.
Right.
It's with STDIO server transport. STDIO is standard input output. So that means this MCP server is running locally on your machine.
Yep.
If we want to move this to a cloud endpoint or some kind of a public endpoint, we've got to change that out to use the HTTP transport at some point.
Okay.
That's the only thing, because it's a different way of interfacing between the two services.
Right. So that looks like this.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
And the problem now is, again, it's saying like, wait a second, I can't do this. And this is my thinking when I followed this through. Just see, because when I followed it through once, and no, here we are. We're good. Adds the necessary services for a map MCP call to handle MCP requests, and so forth and so on, and also to do the streamable transport, which is the new, I don't want to say new, but the modern way to talk to MCP, right? Okay. Yep. But here's the thing. Now that we've done this is becoming a web application. This is not necessarily a console app much longer. So this is not really what we want. We mostly want, well, we need to bring in the whole web infrastructure, which
so not host create web application, it's really create web application.
Yes. Right. So we need that. We need to create a builder for a web application. And then, so this pizza API, we can configure it to run wherever it's really going to live. But I already know, at least I'm pretty sure about this, that it's localhost 7071. So this is just, listen, this isn't part of anything other than that. Later, we want it to be configurable.
Yep.
So I'm not trying to get in the way there. And because we're building a web application, we're going to want to start adding, I want to add an HTTP client, the one that's now going to get injected. That HTTP client's going to be set up and ready to go. It's going to know how to talk to the actual pizza API, and it's going to know that we know we're always going to say accept application JSON. So let's just throw that in there.
Nice.
The rest of this is still pretty much the same. I don't know if we care about this, but I might leave it alone for now.
Yeah.
Now, because once again, we are a web app, we need to map the tools to endpoints to be called, and that's what this does.
Okay.
Except that I'm missing one key piece. Is after the builder is ready, after we're done with the builder, we have to build it.
Yeah.
So this is it. This might look familiar to you if you've built in a lot of web apps, because you might be used to having a map controllers.
Yeah.
The thing that maps Blazor components for you, Razor pages. Instead, we're saying map MCP. And then when we look at the IntelliSense for it, what I like is that this method also maps legacy SSE endpoints for backward compatibility at the path SSE. That might be important for whatever providers you're using.
Yes.
So the last thing we have to do to make sure this works is an app.run.
Yep. When you're throwing in there that SSE comment, that was how we used to do this. It's still, it is being deprecated, but there are some, as you can see here, it's still supported if you have that up and around.
Let's change this to pizza tools.
Nice.
And in order to
Probably
get that, let's do our using. Okay. Now, I want to say that this is a complete minimal sample, I believe. So
I would think so. We should be able to run this, right?
Right. We should be able to run this, but so let's everything built. Okay. In order for it to be like semi-useful, we need both the API and the MCP server running.
Yes.
So
we're back to the classic way of launching separate projects together, right?
No, we can do better.
Okay.
We can click on properties and say multiple startup projects.
Yes.
So I don't know if the classic way for you was open.
That was what I was thinking, right?
Studio. Yeah. Because that, hey, believe me, that was many years for me too.
Yeah.
So we're going to say we will start the pizza API and we will start the MCP server. All right. Yeah. And let's go ahead and start them.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting thing here is let's see what comes up. 5,000 came up for the MCP server.
Okay.
Did I get a window for the API as well? I think I did. Yep. So I have 2 windows.
Okay. I see what you're doing. Yep.
Right. So they're both running. And just to make sure that the API is running, let's call one of these. Okay, great. Now, we have a new problem. The problem is that in Foundry, in fact, let's go ahead and open up Foundry real quick, ai.azure.com.
Okay.
The MCP tool in Foundry is pointing to a real spot on the internet.
Okay.
And I'm localhost right now.
Yep.
So the problem that we have, I have to switch to the correct project, is what do we do? Here it is, controls the pizza bot.
So while we've got this impedance, or things are locked on your machine, the local host would try to figure out how to get up to Foundry. If you just want to test the local host, you can spit up GitHub Copilot, include this locally running MCP service as an MCP server tool for the agent and run it. Not saying we have to do that now. I know you had a thing in mind and a plan out, but I'm just talking through, hey, we're local. I just want to test this.
That's not a bad idea.
Okay.
Let's see though. So there's a couple ways to do this. I actually think I don't know if ports is supported in Visual Studio. I know it definitely is in Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
Ports.
I mean, do we have dev tunnel out here?
That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
Dev tunnels. Here we go. I want to say that in Visual Studio, this has been, I don't want to say renamed, but I think it's been exposed as ports.
Okay.
So let's see what's happened here now that I've. Okay. I don't really need that one. Sure. Yeah, I don't need that. Now, let's create a tunnel. Let's see. I just want to see what it's asking me. A new URL each time Visual Studio started. It's fine with me. I do have to set this to public. Your dev tunnel has been created, but now the issue is I need to configure it for a port, right? And then I'm not getting what I need to see there. In other words, I'm trying to get it to see, I can't, for some reason, I can't see what ports are configured.
If you got to reduce the zoom out, I guess, if that helps.
I think it's something else, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I hate to go through this now, but I think it's an environment. Okay, so here's what I might do. I might shift and use ngrok.
Okay.
I do want to go back to doing this within tools, and that includes VS Code.
Yeah.
So ngrok. Okay. If I remember correctly, you just basically say get a public URL for a port. All right. So the port is 5,000, if I remember correctly.
Yes, for the MCP server.
It's telling me that I have to log in. Oh, no. You think everything's going to go fine. You test it all, and you say, all right.
So while you're doing that and
Go ahead.
signing in, what we're trying to do is on our machine, we're running localhost. And we have no way of hitting localhost from the internet, and that's where AI Foundry is running. So what ngrok or dev tunnels would give us is essentially a public endpoint or an authenticated endpoint, depending on how you set it up, for us to use as the MCP endpoint inside of our Contoso Pizza bot, so that the traffic goes up to our proxy sitting up in wherever that service lives, and then comes back down to our machine over a tunnel. And then we can relay traffic back and forth that way. This way, you don't have to do any crazy opening of NATs on your firewall or router or whatever it is, right? This becomes a secure way of exposing that. And I will say, you've put Dev Tunnels lives inside of Visual Studio. ngrok is a common tool that you can download and run and use. There is recently been Azure Dev Tunnels as well. So you basically bring down an application like ngrok is, and it runs locally on your machine, and you can authenticate against your Azure Dev credentials and things of that nature. So that might be something else to take a look at. I'll drop a link to that in the chat here so you can check that out as well.
Okay, so here's where I think we're at.
Okay.
I'm just double checking that this all cut and paste, and it did. Okay, so here's where we're at. Now, I have opened that tunnel, and what we would need to do is we need our Create Foundry agent to take advantage of that tunnel. Okay. In app settings, we have this MCP server URI pointing out to their MCP server.
Okay.
In order for it to point back to my machine, which, I can just change this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in, I don't really know that this is a huge problem, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and change this off screen to the public URL that ngrok just gave me.
Yeah.
I would back to my machine.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to leave it public, right? Because that's an opening into your machine.
Right. I mean, it's not going to be there forever, but still.
No.
So I've changed that. So now our Create Foundry agent, if I set that, I need to run this. And I'm going to start a new instance of it.
Okay.
Which I can't debug it, which is fine, because I don't really care about debugging that. And I'm going to see if that fires up off screen, and then I'll bring it over. But what I want to do is I want to get I would like to just see if we can get some breakpoints in for the API and here so that we can see that it's actually calling. Okay. So the agent came up.
Nice.
All right. So let's say, hi there. Can you help me understand what is on the menu at Contoso Pizza? And if this all worked correctly, it tried. Okay, so it tried.
Looks like it's wrapping a URL in a URL, right?
Yeah, it does. Okay, but you know what? It tried to call locally, so that's good.
Yeah, it knew where the endpoint was.
Right. So I'm trying to think for a second. Is it because... Oh, actually, so it turns out that my endpoint was garbage.
Oh.
I actually saved it that way.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I'm not trying to say that that's good, but at least I know what the error was.
Right.
Okay, so what's happening right now is the API's back up, the MCP server's back up.
Yep.
Here's Visual Studio. Now let's start the agent again.
Okay.
So we're going to say start new instance. So this is not being debugged, but that's okay. So, I mean, at least, look, like I said, I'm at least satisfied to know that what you saw pasted in there is what I pasted in there. So, okay. Hello. So, and here's the other thing. I think that means it was trying to call it.
I think so.
Can you, and then it exposed that API anyways. So we'll have to either blur, the funny thing is in a few minutes, this is going to be shut down. So tell me what pizzas are on the menu, but it's going to be shut down. And no, it's still complaining. And error encountered while enumerating tools. Response status code does not indicate success. Okay. So here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if I need to implement more tools because it said not found. So
what I take that error to mean, what happens is when
80. Go ahead.
When MCP goes to, or when the agent goes to make that first connection to the MCP endpoint, and you might remember if we did some of the ones we did last week with the tracing, we looked at it and said, well, look, here's where it started. When it first started the conversation, it reached out to the MCP tool server to say what tools are available, because it's just doing that on startup to say, I now know what I can point to the MCP for a task that it can do. So it's not getting that information, that list tools, which is almost like the initial handshake, is not happening for whatever reason. Now, is it because it can't find it? Or is it because we didn't implement something? I'm not sure. And this might be the other way to check, is to point it to the local host in Copilot. Because then you'll see if you're getting the same error, then it's not the...
I hear what you're saying. Okay, so let's open up Copilot. So this is the GitHub Copilot CLI. That's what you were saying, right? Or
sure.
no?
Yep. Nope.
Or it could have just been in here.
Could have been either one. Yeah.
Well, let's do it in here then. GitHub Copilot chat. All right, and then I want a new chat or.
Yeah, do new chat.
Okay.
And then, is there a tools button in here? I think that thing just to the left of the send. Tools. You want to add?
Oh, I see.
And you can call server IDs whatever you want to call it.
Okay, PizzaBot MCP.
Yep. And then type is an STDO because we're implementing it through HTTP. Yep.
Right.
And the URL for whatever that is. So that would be the localhost URL, which is 5,000.
Right.
We can add headers if we want, but that's fine. We just want to see if we can get a connection. And then what you should be able to do, now that that connection is made, you should be able to do a / and see the PizzaBot MCP and the tools that are available. So in the Ask Copilot,
Mm-hmm.
do a /. And then from here, if we got our connection right, down the bottom there. Oh,
I don't know which one I want.
I don't see any of those. Because it would be Pizza Bot MCP.
Okay.
That's what you called it, right?
Yes.
So
or would it be here? Right
do
here.
that.
I've got to
There
add
we
it.
go.
But it didn't work.
That's okay. Do the ellipse at the end.
Okay.
Configure. That puts us back into here. Failed for the type HTTP. All right, let's close this.
Well, here's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
When I put that URL in,
yeah,
should I have put /SSE at the end? Or /MCP or something like that? Or do I not
MCP
need to do that?
Probably. Yeah, so edit.
Oh, it's saying here. So I could do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you should be able to reconnect. See on the left where it's got that little highlighted that text over top of it, like between line 3 and 4.
Right. Oh yeah, reconnect. It says online.
Yeah.
So now you were saying /.
Yeah.
Still not there. Online. That's like way better. So it didn't pick up the tools. Now, that makes me wonder, did I do something? Did I not finish something here? MCP server tool. You know what? I may not have finished. Hold on a second.
This
could be what it is. Yes. Yes, that might be what the real problem is.
Okay.
Okay, so there's no descriptions here.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yep.
So I went ahead and made, first of all, the class itself isn't identified. Okay. And then second, we need a description because otherwise there aren't any tools as far as it's concerned.
Yes.
Get a list of all pizzas on the menu. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's it. This doesn't have anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and save that.
Okay.
I think that I need to start everything back up again.
At least the MCP thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, the API should be fine.
In order to make the code change, I shut down that. So we know that we have Visual Studio configured to debug these two projects at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the API and the web server. And then what we do is we had been using Create Foundry Agent, but your point was let's go ahead and just use this. And there was a configure here that I think was online and reconnect. It says it failed. That's odd.
Is it running?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's running. Okay. In fact, and so look over in the MCP server, I just got a bunch of splat over in the MCP server.
Yep. Now look what happened on the thing on the between 3 and 4. One asset.
Okay.
Right, which
this
wasn't
is
there
telling
before.
Me. Yeah. All right.
So that means you have the one tool that you can work with.
It's not there. One of one. Do I have to add that? Get pizza as well?
Get
pizzas.
It's got 2 references.
Yeah, let's see what it picked.
Say I want to order a pizza.
Oh, look at that.
So you've got to confirm that we can talk to this MCP server.
And we just hit our breakpoint in the MCP server.
Yep.
That is now going to call fetch async. And it's calling fetch async. And it's ran get pizzas. You know, this was a much better way to test this. So I appreciate this. I was trying to go too far to do it all. We will do that. We will get everything working.
Sure.
But this was a much better way to quickly test because so much is wired up. And here it is. Here are the 16 pizzas.
Yeah.
So our MCP server is functioning.
Yes. I think we're definitely confident with that.
Right. And that's cool because now you know, not to as some people may know this joke, not to just like draw the rest of the owl. But
draw one circle, draw two circles.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and copy in the rest of the tools that I kind of translated over from Python. I don't actually think this is like the super exciting part, so I don't feel like, I mean, it is cool, right? But oops. To me, we now have all the same tools that we had in Python, including getting lists of pizza, getting specific pizzas, and then each one calls the API. Some of them are a little bit more involved because they're figuring out what to do once you get the orders, what to do when you place the orders. And then we have a little record here to copy in, which I'm just going to throw in the class.
Yep.
I'm actually going to throw it right here. So I'm just going to throw that in the class. It's just a little record that basically, so that way this MCP tool can say, listen, when you call me to place an order, send me this list of items, and the items include the pizza, the quantity, the extra toppings if necessary. And the MCP server looks at these descriptions and figures it all out.
Exactly.
Which I think is really cool. So the point is that now everything's going to work, including like asking Copilot more interesting questions. So that's all up and running. I think the only thing I don't have to run in the future, I'd like to see us running the agent, but like to your point, we can just come back here and we can say, hey there, what toppings are available on pizza? And let's see if it picks out the tool. It's interesting that
get toppings.
And I can see a whole bunch of stuff happening over here. And what's odd is that it didn't. So it's funny that it tried to call something first before it said, hey, let me go get the toppings data. So I wonder if there's.
I wonder if it's too close to the project.
Right. Because for some reason it's trying to go get the toppings itself out of the.
Yeah.
You know what it could be is I wonder if I needed to come in here and see how the different tools aren't added yet.
Oh, that's interesting.
So do I need to come back here and say
there should be a restart.
Retry. Yeah. Now it says 9 assets.
Yeah.
So now let's just kill this and say hey, can you tell me what toppings are available? And now let's see if instead of it trying to figure it out from local resources, it just says, oh, now I know about these other tools. Let me just call those. That's interesting that it doesn't seem to know. Oh, I know why it doesn't seem to know.
Because maybe the rest of the,
maybe we should add the tools. Maybe we should do that. I hope try again is good enough. Yeah, here we go. Now we're calling the and you can see it's doing a bunch of stuff here, and it's picking up the tools. Okay, so a little bit of learning there.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps people who are watching. I'd like to say that, hey, okay, so we struggled through it so you don't have to.
Yeah.
But in any case, so where are we? We are at, we know in the past, we've created these agents to talk to an MCP server that already exists. It's already out there. It's put together by the awesome team that built the Python version of this agent workshop.
Yep.
And what we're doing is we're converting it to C#. And we now, if we go to the repo right now, we have the pizza API and the shared models. And now we have an MCP server which unfortunately, if you're watching right now and you're like, I want the code. I want the code. I can't wait to get to the code. Give me a little bit of time to get this up here. It will come up here. What I'd like to do is, and hey, I really love this from Marius. Cool idea for a project. Thank you very much for saying so. We appreciate it. And thanks for joining us. The idea is that anybody should be able to clone this and replicate what we're doing, and definitely trying to provide, everything you need to do so, including instructions and so on, which all the instructions aren't quite ready yet, but that's where we're heading. So, okay.
Awesome.
We got there. A little bit of work, but we got there. So
it's okay. Hey, we didn't vibe code any of that, right? That was all between us.
That's true. I mean, look, we used GitHub Copilot to help us. And now don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell anyone short. Like Copilot has been a massive help for me in terms of like breaking things down. I asked it some questions about the TypeScript implementation of the MCP agents. And it's like, hey, here's what you should be doing. Go use this template. Here's an example tool. Just start porting it over. And I was like, okay, it's really nice to have that little booster. And then the other thing that it will do for you is it'll just point you at documentation. It's like, if you want to know more, read this file, right? And so it's been great.
Yeah.
But
no, it's been awesome for me as well. So lots of great stories we could tell around that.
Yeah, but we definitely know that people watching are saying to themselves like, well, okay, that's awesome, but how do I create my first MCP server? So hopefully what we did today helps.
Yeah.
In the show notes, if I don't have this link in there, I will get it in there right away. I want you to be able to just scroll down and actually, no, it is not in there. So as soon as we sign off here, I'm going to pop this in, create a MCP server using C#. You don't have to publish a NuGet if you don't want to. I'd like to, in the future, cover maybe how you can open a port and have this all working through Foundry.
Yeah.
So the Foundry agent would call back to your machine, which isn't like, that's not the ideal thing, because what we can look at in the future after that is we can look at things like Foundry Local, which I think will lead us towards a development environment all here, an easy to use project. Aspire is calling our names here, I think.
Yes.
So that you basically app host up and running, agents working, maybe Foundry Local to host this stuff while you're developing, and you're in great shape. But, we're moving along. So
good stuff.
All right.
Cool.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for helping me through that. And I loved thanks for rescuing me on the GitHub Copilot stuff. I got it all working both with ngrok and with everything when I was testing this out. But, sometimes live, you either forget a step.
Yeah.
Or especially with modern connected services. Oh, man, now it wants me to log in again.
Right.
Oh, there was an update. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So it can happen to the best of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But no, it was those are the things that the tunneling is always, challenging at some point. So yeah, no, it was great. Great walkthrough.
Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, everybody, we will be back later this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed what we're doing. Comment down below with any of your experience or questions that you have, and we'll try to get back to you. But for Rich, I'm Chris, and we'll see you all next time on the Dev Talk Show.